What it is, guys, it's your old boy Pilk, and I'm coming back at you with more DanMachi. Now today, we've really talked about a lot of the stuff you need to really get started in the game. We've talked about how to upgrade units, how to upgrade weapons, what events to start with. Hopefully by this point, the other thing I didn't really talk about in the video, I don't think so much, is the need to open up these other 4 events. Especially Eyes and Leafia, because once you get in here, you really need to increase their CP levels, just like we talked about before. So to do that, to get this little reset button up here at the top, basically what you got to do is you got to go in and run 1 level of each. So like with Eyes, if you go in, once you unlock hers, which I think is once again level 15 of, I think it's episode 15 of Belle's story. Either way, you should be much further than that by this point, especially with my absurd release schedule. So by that point, what you need to do is you need to come in here and at least run just part 1 of episode 1. That's it. That's all you need to do to start off with, and then of course go into Leafia and do the same thing. Now these both, just like how Belle's is from the main story arc of the anime, these come from the Sword of Toria's story arc of the anime. Ryu's is a little bit different, but it wouldn't be a bad idea to unlock her anyway. But Eyes and Leafia are way, 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 way more important. The thing that makes Ryu important kind of has gotten shoved aside, for lack of a better way to put it. And it's still a great one to do. It's the most challenging of the 4, but not as important as Eyes and Leafia. So if you run down here, you do the very first quest, even the story, I think, for Eyes and Leafia each. It's going to come out here and it's going to unlock this little, that little like reset icon looking thing. And you'll be able to basically toggle through all 3 of the characters. Like there's Belle. Now and that's how you go and you talk to, the different characters and raise your CP for each of the units. Because remember, the CP levels for all 3 of them, they kind of stack. So the higher the CP levels on each one of them, the better you are. Better off you are. I just wanted to talk about that here at the beginning because I didn't think I really discussed that in enough detail prior. But make sure you're doing that. Make sure you're going through each and every time, talking to everybody in the town, and with all 3 units. You need Eyes and Leafia each, and I said basically you just got to do the first part of the first episode of each one of them to unlock them. So, and then obviously to just toggle through them, you click this little reset looking icon here at the top. Says next update at midnight Pacific Standard Time. Boom. Now I'm on Eyes. Click it again. Boom. Now I'm on Leafia. It's that little reset icon right there, dead center at the top. Just wanted to talk about that real quick. That's not as pertinent to what we were going to talk about today, which are events. We've talked about just about everything else here. We'll touch on dispatch quests later. Hopefully you've already been farting around with those, but there's a lot to talk about with that you may or may not be aware of. So, let's talk about events. There are lots of different types of events in this game. Mostly what we're going to touch on today are the tails. When Heroic Trials comes back, we'll talk about Heroic Trials. I've made a few videos about the other Heroic Trials that are around. No Heroic Trials exist. The main thing with that is it's a free bond for a 4-star. And considering we just got a bunch of new characters, I'm expecting Heroic Trials on them here before too terribly long. Though I'll be real, Heroic Trials tend to come around a little more frequently when we have like time-limited units. Like we just had Heroic Trials and the Argonaut stuff that was around. So we might not get them for a bit, but when it comes around, we'll talk about it, okay? Familia Rush is literally just kind of like an event that adds on to the tail. That gives you some big bosses to fight and tons of rewards, and your entire familia goes ham on this thing. So when that comes back around, we'll talk about that too. Okay, this one's kind of a one-off deal. This is just a side story event for the anime. I haven't really been touching on these in the videos, but I really need to. But basically, they release 1 per episode, and then it just kind of segues from one episode into the next. So that's all you need to know about that. That's only around right now because when the anime has come back, it's not a normal event. The main normal events are these tails. Now there's short tails, there's long tails, and there's just tail. I think the last one we had was like, what, a giant tail or something? Something like that. But tales are your main, I guess, source of outside the main story events, side story type information. Now, what we've got right now, we got the secret game, which is kind of like a cross between last year's swimsuit event and last year's casino event. It's both of them kind of like combined into one. The stories on these are genuinely pretty good. Most of the time, the stories are actually written by the original author of the light novels. So, in fact, the Argonaut one we just got, the Great Tale on that one was actually supposed to be written into a treatment for one of the light novels. It just never got, I guess, completed. So he completed it. Actually, they animated it for us. They animated it, drew cells for the game, and then the game got its own exclusive release. I've talked about this before and how awesome that is, but to give you an idea how awesome that really honestly is, it was the equivalent, I believe they said that each part, maybe all the parts as a whole, either way, were the equivalent of a 13-episode anime. There are 3.5 hours of content in that tale. I'll let you digest that for a moment, what that actually means. 3.5 hours of content just in the story for the Gacha game. They could literally have, fluffed that out a little bit, turned it into its own, console game, and, made it just its own side story there, which I think would be awesome, frankly, if they did. But, literally, he loves this game so much. That was all converted into an event just for the Gacha. Pretty nuts. The tale right now is actually pretty good. Quite a few chuckles in this one. And basically, how the tales work is obviously just like before. You start off with normal, hard, and very hard levels. You work through it, you get stories as you work through it, and everything kind of compiles into this one big overlumping story. Now, I've never really had a chance to sit down, and then do a gush piece on all the stories. I keep threatening to do it, and I haven't done it yet, so shame on me. I'm going to have to get on that. But each and every single one of these stories will always give you five iris. Now, the stories will show up in hard and very hard, but you have to clear them in normal mode, so you'll only get credit for the story through normal mode. You're not going to get credit for it through all these. But when you fight hard and very hard, just like on the story events, the main storyline, all of these boss fights will each give you iris. And if you S clear the boss fight, it will still give you iris. And I'll just, in case you forgot from the episode, main storyline one that I released back, talking about the Bell episodes, if you go over here, click this little refresh icon looking here, it'll tell you what you need to S clear this. So with boss 135, you have to complete the quest, obviously, finish it. Kind of hard to S clear it if you don't finish it. Cannot lose any members. Now, he's a pretty tough opponent. So that's sometimes easier said than done. And you have to do it all within 9 turns. Now, if you're new at the game, you may or may not be able to do this. But we get enough free 4 stars up in here. Make sure, and I'll show you exactly how to make sure you do this. Make sure before this event goes away, if this is your first event, that you have a team of full 4 stars, and you'll be able to take care of this. Fully upgraded, I should say. The more dupes, the better, but yeah, if you go through my character video before, it'll kind of tell you how to gauge what types of units and all that are really, really good to upgrade. Just make sure you're paying close attention to their stats. Don't ever throw bonds, like your star bonds and your prism bonds. Never throw those into a unit that doesn't at least have double S stats. Please don't do. I made that mistake. Don't be me. So, of course, I was very new at the game at the time too, so it's a thing. So, really simply put, though, as you run through this, yeah, you're going to be able to S clear this pretty quickly if you have a team of 4 stars. They're fully upgraded, and you got a couple bonds in a couple of them. And it's going to be an absolute breeze. It's really, while he's hard, I'll even show you kind of got my, this team here isn't the best. Now, Mikasa's an absolute beast. But you'll see, basically what I've done is I've thrown all of my units on here that I need to, upgrade. In fact, I'm going to take Leafia off for a moment, because I was running her on her story event, because with Leafia and Eyes, you have to run them on their own story event in order to upgrade them, or basically in order to S-clear them. So, like, I had to throw Leafia on the team for her story event, blah, 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 blah. So what I like to do is I build a team here that's just for grinding, that legitimately is just building CP for units that are hard to get CP for. So, let's see here. Probably would be a bad idea. There's what I want. I want to throw Aaron Yeager on there. Because with them, they only use very specific items. The Data Live units and the, unfortunately, I don't have any Kino units. The Data Live units and the Titan units, because they're all crossover units, it's hard to get stuff for them. So increasing their CP here is a little more effective. So I build a whole team of them. Go in here to quest. And don't get too enamored by him being +5. He was a free-to-play unit. Same with them. They were a free-to-play assist. Mikasa's the only one I really went ham on, and I've used a few star bonds on Levi, because he's totally worth. And we'll just go in here and we'll S-clear this real quick. All right? Camera, please don't fuzz out on me. Please do not fuzz out on me. All right. So we're fighting Otaro, and you can see we're already starting to, like, you know, do a good bit of damage. But if I'm real, he hits really, really hard. Now, the biggest problem I've got is I didn't put any armor or anything like that on there. So you can see my units are getting taken apart. So I'm going to wait for Kurumi to heal here. There you go. Oh! Bad example. Kurumi just died. So this would not be an S-clear had I not already S-cleared it. So what you'd want to do is if I had some armor on her, she wouldn't be dead yet. But she'd be taken completely apart. So, once again, do as I say, not as I do. Let's go in here. Wait for this to finish loading. So that's pretty much that. Not the best team in the world, obviously. I'm just using this team to grind out CP level so that I don't have to do as much work on that on the back end. And whenever this decides to finish loading, I'll show you what I'm talking about with my armor. Because when I'm doing the tail, after I S-clear everything, I don't really care if I S-clear it again. Because it's never going to change. It's going to be an S-clear no matter what. I'm just not going to get any iris for it. Okay? Let's go in here one more time and do that. Now, obviously, I'd want to go down here and I'd want to go to auto-equip, but I really don't want to do that right now because it's going to mess up my War Games runs. So, like with her, see, she's got no armor. So let's go ahead and change equip on her and see if we can armor her up. That Glorious Anklet will be good. It's taunt resist, but we don't really need it. All we need to do is increase her defenses. And then we'll go in here to Origami and give her some stuff, too. Let's see. Origami is really low levels, so we'll give her some stuff. Change equip. And she doesn't even have a weapon? What? Hold up. Where is Metatron? Girl, where is your weapon? Unupgraded, I believe, is the answer. Yes. So we'll equip that weapon. I do need to upgrade her weapon, but I honestly don't use her very often. My light teams are not that good, so I kind of ignore her if I'm honest. But that's a mistake on my part. Not a mistake I would recommend you making. Okay? So now her defenses are up, and we'll go right back in there. And you've seen all this before. I've covered all that in the 101s. If you haven't seen that, there will be a playlist in the description down below. Go check out the 101 level videos on all these things. It'll describe everything in grave detail. I've got the character upgrades and the weapon upgrades in so much detail. Each one of those videos is pretty close, like over 45 minutes, almost an hour long. So there's a lot to take in on those. But let's go ahead and redo this now that I've put some armor on Kurumi and Origami. And let's see what we do here. So now they shouldn't... Yeah, see, they're not taking as much damage now. Okay. And I am doing auto battle. If I wasn't doing auto battle, it wouldn't have been a problem anyway. But auto battle is kind of the fastest way to do it. Plus, at this point, you should probably know, if you've been watching the 101 videos, how to fight these enemies. But really, if you're grinding out these events, auto battle is kind of the way you want to go, unless you absolutely cannot. If your team cannot S-clear it with auto battle, then go ahead and do a manual battle for the first one, and then keep doing auto battle for these. Because, as I was getting to next, you want to grind this out for real. You want to seriously grind this out. And I'll explain why here as soon as my load times are through. Basically, we'll look at the items that we're going to get here as rewards in just a second. And we'll talk about what they do and why they're so critically important to grind out. All right? So we got 33 of the small, 60 of the medium, 12 of the large, and is that 58? 58 of these tokens. That's awesome. That's actually really good. So the small, medium, and large items, there's in every tail that you get these small, medium, and large items. And you'll see I'm kind of low on my items at the moment because I have not been grinding this like I honestly should. Okay? When you grind out these items, you get a slew of rewards. These are so incredibly important. I cannot stress it enough. Cannot stress it enough. Hero Lights are what lets you do Hero Ascension. Now, I'm drowning in Ascension Falna, but Hero Lights are what actually lets you get above 3 stars with units that are, or unlock it on your older units. But on units that are already Hero Ascended, the ones that we're getting lately, you need these to get above 3 purple star. So, these are the first things to farm. Okay? In fact, I'm going to save these for 3rd or 4th. I'm going to farm up my Hero Metal and Flame Amulet absolutely next. And I'll show you why here in just a minute. Okay? Gnome tickets. Gnome tickets are stupid important too. We'll go over that in a moment. Okay? Event unit tails. I don't know how important they are for me, but for most players, they're probably crazy important. You want to make sure you're doing those. We'll cover all those when we go to the event exchange. Faith stones. Okay? Faith stones are really important. What faith stones do, when you go into your Familia and you have amassed a certain number of these, and you go to do donations, you do your item donations, and that's how your Familia powers up their attacks. We'll talk about that here in a moment because I am the leader of my Familia and I can show you how that works. It's pretty straightforward. But make sure you're farming up all your faith stones, which obviously I haven't been. Smelting stones. If you watch the video on weapons, if you haven't, go down there and watch it. This is how you upgrade weapons. Now, one thing I do want to note here. Medium stones and small stones are never limited. Which means you can indefinitely farm this event and pull medium and small stones. I would highly recommend doing that. I would recommend spamming this event, dropping a few potato snacks, and going ham on this event. If you have like a day free, go crazy on this event. Get everything. Then, when you have time left over, get some smelting stones, and then get your wet stones. Okay? Notice the larges on both of them are limited, but I'll be real. When you're at the state I am in the game, which admittedly, like, I'm only, like a year into the game. So it's not that deep into it, if I'm honest, and I didn't really take the game seriously for the first 6 months or so. But now that I'm into it and loving it, like, I kind of wish I had taken it seriously from the start. The wet stones and the large stones, you'll eventually amass enough of them, you're not worried about it. You will be hurting for them in the beginning, so make sure you get all of them, okay? You only get 5 of each, 5 of the large wet stones. I believe 7? Yeah, 7 of the large smelting stones in each event. Get them all. By my point, I'm drowning in them, so I'm not worried about it so much, but I'm always hurting for mediums and smalls. Always hurting for mediums and smalls. Once again, go watch the weapons video to understand what they do, but just understand they're vitally important. Okay? 2-star tickets. Remember, if you guys have ever watched any of the streams, you know I do tons and tons of ticket summons every week. That's because I farm up all these tickets. These tickets can and will turn into 4 stars. Now, it's only like a 1% chance, but you spam enough tickets and your odds start going up, So, they do turn into 3 stars too, but it's only a guaranteed 2-star, which is the lowest level you can summon in the game anyway. So, if you farm up enough of these, you will get a 4-star. I can't guarantee you'll get 4 stars on this meager amount. It's only 10. It makes your chances about 10%. But that's still good chances of a free 4-star. It's totally worth farming these. Okay? And then when we finally get down here, this is your fauna. Small, medium, and large fauna. And basically what I do is I farm everything else first. I'm not worried about alarm gems. Those are stupid. Unless you want to be woken up by the sultry visage of a fine female's voice. I am a married man, and the last thing I need is my phone going off and first thing in the morning with a sweet hello, good morning, how are you doing? Because my wife going to be like, who that bitch? And I'm going to be like, well, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm gonna go to the bathroom about a half hour. I'm taking the Kleenex with me. That it doesn't end well. It just doesn't work out very well in your favor when that goes down. So for me, I just leave the alarm gems alone. I digress. Fauna's really, really, really important. So for me, typically what I do is I have like I basically have like a certain point I want to get. I want to basically have 100 mediums and 100 medium whetstones, 100 medium smelting stones, and then I'll come down here and I will start farming strength fauna, or I say strength fauna, large fauna. Now, I really need to start doing that with medium too, if I'm honest with myself, because I run out of mediums so fast anymore. But like I had the last event with 250 of each of the large faunas, 250. And over 1,000 skill fauna, but that's because I get it all over. Yeah, see, 1,600 skill fauna. So I'm good on that. But like the greens and blues and all that stuff, like I've got 76 left because I've been upgrading units like crazy. So 117. So my goal when I end this is probably to be about 300, give or take, of each one of them. So you need to be farming the hell out of this. You really, 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 really do. That's the exchange. Let's talk about the gacha, because we haven't even talked about the gacha yet. Each tale anymore has its own gacha. What do I mean by that? It's literally a summon system built into the event just for event stuff. Check that out. 3-star guaranteed ticket. You get 15 of those bad boys. I think it's 15. Sometimes up to 30. We've had some that have gone for a long, long, long time. But usually after round 15, it becomes just hero fauna, and I'm so full in hero fauna I don't really need to worry about it. But things are in here that you need to pay stupid close attention to. Dungeon Sandwich, Book of Knowledge, Single Flower. Your CP elements are in here. Large Exilia books. Large fauna. Medium fauna. Yes. You can still get all of that in here. There's the medium books. Or those are small books. That's a small book. The medium book in here? Medium book should be in. There it is. So if we go ahead and do a draw 10. Draw 10 is 100 of those. Remember, we got 58 tokens when we finished. 100 tokens is a 10 pull. Draw 10. Okay? So I've got, pardon me, I've got 2,500, so I can do 25 draws. And I'll basically show you how this works. So I'm going to do this draw here. And, okay, so perfect. We got a 3-star ticket. That's my second 3-star ticket off of this. You got a bunch of fauna, got some books, and got a rose. That's awesome. So what I'm going to do here, notice the rates on these are just going up and up and up and up and up. But the rates on that are now 0%. So what I want to do is I'm going to go in here, click reset items up here. Boom. And reset this. And what that's going to do is it's going to reset that, so I actually have a chance of getting a 3-star ticket. Now, yes, if you do not reset it, you're just going to be spamming the rest of the stuff at pretty high rates, mind you. But you're not going to get the 3-star ticket, which is your main kind of swag out of this. So, do the math on that. 15 3-star tickets, each with a 1% chance, 2% chance, or whatever, to give you a 4-star. Along with all 10 of those 2-star tickets, your odds of getting a 4-star are really, really, really good. Really good. Okay? And we go up to Gacha details here. It just basically tells you everything about this. It's not critically important, but if you really want all the deep dive info, you can go do that. Okay? But let's do another draw 10 and see what we get here. I don't remember. I think at 9,999 it maxes out on that. I want to say that's what it does, but I don't remember specifically. So I run it until I have 2,500 to 3,000 ticket or 2,500 to 3,000 tokens, and then I come in here and just spam the gacha and just get all kinds of swag. So typically at 3,000, I will get 4 or 5 of these 3-star tickets. Sometimes they get really hard to pull. You'll see that 3-star ticket every time I snag one, or every time I fail to snag one, its percentage goes up. So right now it's a 1%. That percentage will get worse every single reset. So where I'm at 1.09 on my 4th draw here, by the 15th draw, that might be 0.15%. So they get harder and harder to pull as it goes along. But that's fine. It's completely worth the grind. And you see all this other stuff that I'm pulling out of here. I really want CP rewards, if I'm honest. CP rewards are insanely useful right now. So for me, I keep farming this. Like, I never am done farming this. I'm farming this up to literally the last few minutes that this is open. Because even after the event expires, the gacha and the exchange stay open for another week in the shop, which I'll show you here in a minute because I got to talk about the other shop stuff too. So this is really useful. You need to be farming this for real. That's why I say the tails are so incredibly important. Not only is this where you get your free-to-play iris, but this is also where you get all these CP items, all these tickets for doing, for pulling 4 stars and all that stuff. So make sure you're not sleeping on a tail. If you sleep on a tail, that it's kind of gone. Now, they do generally come back. They kind of rotate out every year. But if it comes... See, there's another 3-star ticket. Bada bing, bada boom. So we're going to go up here. We're going to reset items. It's going to go from 0%. Now let's go back to reset for to level 4. It's going to be like half a percentage or something. Let's see what it resets to. Come on. Reset for me, girl. And you'll see that stock is 1703. There we go. Oh. Oof. Okay, so it's 0.15%. But, I mean, it'll increase fairly quickly. Let's just do a quick draw. Now, the other thing I didn't talk about are some of the rewards from this. Oh, look at all those books. Hell yeah, I'll take that. So now it's up to 0.25%. And then after this, it should be up to 0.5%. It'll... Like I said, the percentages, they stop increasing at that kind of rate after a few runs. So maybe after like run 10, you're going to be... Like I usually find between run 7 and 8 is where it takes a long time to farm up. But, yeah, 0.34%. So you get the basic concept. Okay. Like I said, though, the one thing I forgot to mention here is that if you go out here, when you run these events, and unfortunately I can't show you because it's already closed off. Freya over there. Freya is a free-to-play unit from this tail. So, she's a free 4-star, and she's actually not that bad. Free 4-star assist. So, we can go talk about what she does, but she drops in this event. Once you beat normal, boss 135 on normal, boss 135 on hard, and 3 of the events, I think it's the first, middle, and the final event over here on very hard, you get all of her bonds. So a lot of these tails have a free 4-star that you can farm up. So vitally important. Now what happens if you miss her? Well, we'll show that off in the shop actually. We'll show that off. That's that part of the event exchange. Let's go talk about what she does real quick and whether or not she's worth in this specific instance. Now, there are different free-to-play 4-stars for every single event. This Bell was the free-to-play 4-star for last year's Halloween event, and he's really good. His stats are actually spectacular. Let's go and limit break him all the way up. And while his abilities may not be that high, they're good for an assist. That HP is spectacular, and he does both physical and magic attack. He's really good. I still use him to this day, and because he decreases dark resistance and increases critical rate, he finds a spot on almost every team, especially my dark teams, but almost every team. Let's go down here and look at what Freya does more specifically for this specific one. Where is she at? Where you at, girl? Where you at? There she be. There she be. All right. So this is our Freya from the current event. What's up, girl? Okay, we're going to limit break her all the way up. Once again, her HP is pretty good. Remember, that adds on to whatever hero she's attached to. So an extra 1,000 HP, plus once again, her physical and magic attack are about on the same level. In fact, they are exactly the same level. Her MP is not amazing. There's much better MP out there. Usually that's kind of the drawback I find of free-to-play units. The MP just kind of isn't there. Defenses aren't bad, though. So, she's pretty handy. I'm not going to lie. Pretty handy. Now, status. What does she actually do? Allies. Water attack damage and penetration rate plus 10%. Now, I won't sugarcoat it. With a free-to-play unit, you're not going to get the best percentages out of them. Most of the pay units are going to give you 15% or better. So, free-to-plays are about 10%. But, a free MLB'd 4-star, even at 10% rate, is about... I mean, remember, that rate is about as good as a level 60 of the pay unit. So it's, I say pay unit, but the Iris summoned unit. So it still ain't bad. So make sure you pull her, make sure you MLB her, start building your water team, because the next Familia Rush will be water. Mark my words. You can always tell by what the current event is. Next Familia Rush will be water. Get ready for that. Okay? I'll use that to segue my way. No, you know what? I'm going to go to the event exchange. We'll go to the event exchange here. If we go to shop, let's say you miss out on the Freya or whatever. You miss out on a bond to her. You have another one you missed out on. Go to the event exchange. Remember there were those I'm sorry, not event exchange. My apologies. You go in here to the which one is it? There, event units exchange. That's what I'm looking for. So all the free-to-play units are in here. So I don't think Freya has been added in here, only because she's currently live. So she's a great healer. She's a great support. Once again, we talked about the free-to-play Belle that I have. I have all these units. So I'm not worried about these units. She's actually one of the best right there. That Chloe is one of the best units. Her and Shakti are just insane for free-to-play units. Now, you can come in here. You can get those event exchange tickets from the exchange inside the tail. And you come in here, you can get all your free-to-play units from this. There are 100 of those up for grabs, so you can almost MLB a 3-star or come down here and get one and a dupe of one of the previous 4-stars. So if you miss out on one and you really, really, really want one, you can come in here and get them still, which is super handy. I haven't been farming that like I should, only because I really don't need them. That's the thing. We also need to talk about, I'll talk about Gnome Ticket Exchange after this, the Hero Metal and Flame Amulet. The very first things that you saw when we went into the exchange. Those become Prism Bonds. Prism Bonds are the ones that are for non-time limited units. Every single one of the units on the current gacha, all the swimsuit units we just got, they're all non-time limited units. So I've got Prism Bonds here ready to go for whoever I pull. So if I don't pull like an MLB one on the banners, which kind of looks like it ain't going to happen if I'm honest, I do tend to hoard these because then they come in handy later on, but I have kind of expunged them recently on some of the units that I needed to upgrade. So make sure you are getting your Prism Bond, your Prism Bonds, your Hero Metals and Flame Amulets, and then just hang on to them. I wouldn't even exchange them right away, because there's no limit to the amount of times you can really do this. If I had like 19 of these bad boys, I could come in here, exchange them all at once, and go make a difference. So hoard these things till, save them for a rainy day. Okay? That's what the Hero Metal and Flame Amulet do. Gnome tickets. Notice I'm hoarding a bunch of gnome tickets. My 2 cents of the matter with these gnome tickets are, especially don't do that one. Don't do these. Save all your gnome tickets for star bonds. I know in my previous video, I did just the opposite with the Prism Bonds in the dupe. But for me, in that particular given circumstance, I don't get duped very often. So I don't pull a lot of duplicate 4-star bonds yet. So for me, in that point, a 4-star ticket was well worth. But we get so many gnome tickets. Save up for star bonds. You will thank yourself. You will thank yourself. I am just about on the cusp of being able to get 2 assist star bonds, which is kind of my goal, but I'm holding off on these. 2 assist star bonds would be 3 adventurer star bonds, just because assists are a little more rare than adventurers. But anytime there's gnome tickets up for grabs, you want to farm them. You do want to farm them. We'll talk about that when Record Buster comes back. We'll do a whole video on Record Buster. Okay? So that's gnome tickets and flame amulet and hero amulet and the event unit exchange. So these are all things that you can farm from the current events. Really, really important you take advantage of that. Okay? And when I was telling you things are still live, the event exchange in here, see like Heroic Trial for the previous Heroic Trial, is still live. I already bought my bond, so I can't go in here and do it again, but every one of the previous ones are in here. So like this is the tail that just left. I have farmed up everything. The only thing I haven't done is, see, my all those are done. I had 6 of those laying around. I could go down here and get some iris, which I probably will do actually here right now. But if I had any of the items left over, I could go back in here and farm them up. Not really necessary at the moment, but, you know, whatever works. Now I'm going to go in here and get 600 Valis just because reasons. And now we're down to 0. Okay? Let's go to the other one. Boom. Oh, wow. Good thing I came in here. I forgot I was holding on to those. So I can do one more gacha on this. I completely forgot I was holding on to these. It's a good thing I checked. So, whenever this finishes loading. Yours won't have load times like this, it's just because my phone's on its last legs. I will be getting a Galaxy Note 10 here shortly, probably Note 10 Plus if I'm honest. But, you know, they're not dropping but later this week, so nothing I can really do about it at the moment. All right, let's do our final draw 5 on this. This last one was draw 5 with double rates on the 3-star ticket and with a 4-star ticket once you finish all that up. So, yeah, this one was crazy. Unfortunately, you missed it. All right, that's that. Let's go back to the exchange. Okay, and I've got 1,100 of those large elements left over. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to start farming the hell out of Falna. So that's at 119, so I'm going to take that up to... let's take it up to there. Do 21 on that bad boy. So that takes me up to 140. So then I need to go 100, so I need to do 40 on here. And this is basically how I do it. Now, I will obviously be able to take this up much, 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 much higher. But I'll take about 45. The goal is going to be getting back up to about 150, but I'm sure a couple of these are going to be really bloody low. So that one's easy. So we'll just take that up to 148, and then I can go back in here and farm up a little more. So you see basically how this works, okay? So, oh, look at that. That's really low. So I'm going to need a ton on this one. A ton of them. Let's go 60 on that one. And then see, I'm still not really depleting those elements. So, and this one, I just need a little bit more. So now I've got... I'm not really mathing it out anymore. So, just in that little bit of time from the stuff that I forgot to farm up, I now have 135 on him. Oop, I don't want skill Falna. I've got 142 on that one. Let's see, 145 on that one. So I'm going to take them all up to about 160, give or take. So 140 on that one. So if I do 20 more here, you kind of get the idea. It is really vitally important to be farming these items. Again, if you don't get it, there's no other way for me to illustrate it. This is insane. I'm going to give about 15 there. So make sure that you are taking advantage of all of the above. All right? It should be pretty obvious now why I say this is so incredibly important. If you have any questions, definitely, or comments, definitely put them in the comments section down below. But the event exchanges are really, really, really critical. And always check these. Because like I said, by Wednesday, this would have been gone. So I'd have been sitting there with my pants around my ankles going, where did all my fauna go? And I'd had so much to farm up here. So once again, I always check these on like Tuesday afternoon. Just to make sure I've farmed it all up. But that's that, guys. That's going to be the video. Let me know what you think in the comments section down below. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Follow my Birdman. Hit me up on Booker. I'll be back at you guys with more DanMachi here in a little bit of time. And we're going to talk about Record Buster when that drops. Plus, I've got a couple more 101s in the works. So, see y'all soon.